this is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and today we're going to look at a big tablet. I mean a big tablet. This is the Samsung Galaxy Note Pro 12.2, a 12.2-inch Android tablet. We're going to look at it now. So this is it, the Samsung Galaxy Note Pro 12.2. A lot of words in that title. Samsung is a wordy company, aren't they? And some folks have accused them of gadget spam. They do make an awful lot of products, and particularly now, tablets in every single size. They're a big enough company, they can afford to do that. They don't need to sell 70 million of each individual product. They just want to have something for everybody out there. That's their hope, that's their design. So with the previous batch of Samsung tablets that we looked at, the Galaxy Tab 3, the 7.0, the 8.0, so on, those are really kind of mid-level tablets. They didn't have real exciting specs in them. And Samsung was saving those for the Samsung Galaxy Note 8.0, whose specs are getting a little less impressive now because that product is aging now. And then the 2014 edition of the Note 10.1. Those are the real flagships with the super high resolution display, the best CPUs in them, and all that kind of thing. So Samsung now has the Pro line of tablets. There's an Pro 8.4, a 10.1, and those are Tab Pros, and then there's the Note 12.2, the one we're looking at right now. If it has Note in the name, it means it comes with the Samsung S Pen, which is a Wacom digital pen inside. This guy, 12.2-inch display, 2560 by 1600 pixel resolution. This is a super LCD, actually super clear LCD it's called, and it's remarkably thin and light. Honestly, for a tablet of this size, Samsung does know how to make things thin. Look how crazy thin that is, right? It's amazing. As you might guess, the battery is not removable. Anything this thin, usually it's going to be built in permanently. A few tablets do have removable batteries. And it's also not that heavy at 1.65 pounds. That's just a teeny bit heavier than all of the iPads until the iPad Air. And when you consider the fact that this is a 12.2-inch device, that's pretty, well, darn impressive. The back here we have Samsung's faux leather. It's actually plastic textured to look like leather. Should we call it pleather? I don't know. Obviously, this is the black version. It's also available in white. It feels nice. It's pretty grippy. It kind of sort of looks like leather. People complain about the faux stitching around the edges. Yeah, whatever. I don't know. I don't think it's that tacky. But anyway, it's certainly very nice looking and nice rigid tablet too. Taking a look around, here's our IR blaster right there, microphone up top. So yes, you can use this to control your home theater AV gear, just like a lot of other Samsung tablets and phones. Volume controls up here, your power button. Headphone jack right there. Speaker grill, got stereo speakers, enough room for good separation, and actually the sound on this is quite good. We'll play that for you so you can hear it. Nothing on the bottom. Nope, nothing. Instead, we have our USB port. It's the USB 3.0 port right over here. It comes with a USB 3.0 cable and a 5.2 volt 2 amp charger. So that's a little bit over the usual 5 volt, but anyway, you can also use USB 2.0 cables with that, not a problem. Micro SD card slot, compatible with SDXC cards. In fact, we have a 64 gig card formatted in the exFAT file system in it. Other speaker right here, and here's our S Pen, which again is a Wacom digital pen, just like with other Note products. And it's kind of skinny. It can give you a hand cramp. That's the only thing I don't like about this. It's nice that they made it small enough so it can actually live in here, but that's the drawback. And I've tried this with some other Wacom pens, like the one for Surface Pro 2, for example, and just some general ones I have, and they work, but there's a little bit of pen tip offset for the location, so that's not quite ideal if you're doing artwork. You can probably get by if you're just writing them. And here we have it with its little friend, the Samsung Galaxy Note 3 smartphone. Obviously, it finally looks teeny, this phablet here with a very large display. Interesting that. Also interesting, the full retail price for this phone is around the same price as for this tablet, $750 in the United States for most carriers. And as T-Mobile has made us aware, whether you know it or not, you really are paying retail in the end for your phone. You're either just paying it in terms of being rolled into your monthly service contract, if you're getting it on a subsidy, or you're buying it outright. So to put perspective on things, I know some people are saying that the Note Pro 12.2 is darn expensive. It's $750 for the 32 gig. Well, just think about that both of these cost the same full retail. There is a 64 gig model for $100 edition. That means $849 for your tablet here. And there will be 8 LTE versions. It looks like Verizon will be the first out. We don't know the price of that yet. And for size comparison, this is the Samsung Galaxy Tab 8.4 Pro model right here. So 8.4 inch, and you can see the difference in size right there. Now, as I mentioned, there's also a 10-inch version of the Tab Pro. Pro model too, but I think most people might pick the Note 10.1 instead for $50 extra, sometimes the same price you get the same features plus the pen. Lastly, 10-inch tablet, we have the Nokia Lumia 2520 tablet over here, so you can get the idea of the added screen real estate and also how much more you're going to be holding in your hands. Obviously it's bigger, it's not hugely bigger. It's not like Toshiba's, let's say, failed attempt at the Excite 13 Android 13-inch tablet. I think 12.2 is about as big as you can go before it starts feeling kind of insane. So what are the specs for this guy? Inside we have Samsung's own Exynos 5 Octa CPU. That's the 5420. That is, it's Octa because it's sort of like 8 cores, but it does it like the Tegra. It has 4 main cores, 1.9 gigahertz that do the main heavy-duty computing stuff, and lower power 1.3 gigahertz set of quad cores also, so that's 2 sets of quad cores right there. It's been used in other Samsung products recently. We're no stranger to that. 3 gigs of RAM inside, and as I said, 32 or 64 gigs of storage, plus you got the micro SD card slot. Good news is you can actually use USB peripherals with this tablet as well. We have a USB on-the-go host adapter right here, generic, came from Amazon, and we have a 32 gig flash drive. We will plug the flash drive into our little dongle adapter and then plug the dongle adapter into the USB port, and we will have access to our storage. So here we've got our My Files file manager open. Tap on the USB drive and we can see everything that's in there. If we want to play a song from an album, no problem, we can do that. And there it is, it works. What else works? Keyboards, mice, game controllers. I tried the Xbox wired PC controller, though it did not work, but the PlayStation compatible one did, made by Logitech. So stranger to see one brand work and one not work. For mass storage, it supports FAT32. It does not support NTFS. So yes, it will power external portable hard drives, no problem with that. But if you have bigger hard drives that are formatted NTFS, no go there. So how about the UI? That's been a big deal here, the new Magazine UX. UX stands for user experience. Right here, this looks pretty much like normal Android with some big widgets running. We have a really handy weather widget here that also tells you the time. It shows you stocks you're interested in and your next calendar appointments. That's nice too. That's the Notes widget. So where's the Magazine UX? Well, if you swipe this way, you got Flipboard basically. You know, Samsung's been bundling Flipboard with their devices for a while for a full screen experience, and you can customize which things you see here. For example, I added the Samsung Watch On. That's the TV AV remote control and programming guide. If we go this way, we have another Android desktop page right here. These are traditional Android widgets. And going this way, here's another customizable Magazine UX page. Now, everything that we saw at CES is not here. That might have something to do with Samsung's agreement with Google to keep things kind of more Android-y. But we have the Handcom Office one right here, so we can go straight into creating documents. We can view or edit documents as well right in there. You can add more stuff. So say I want to change something up. You can actually resize these too, but here are the widgets that you can choose from. Now, if you've already installed them, it shows you as checked. So a lot of these are really Flipboard kind of newsy widgets. Nice, but not the most useful. Social networking right here, YouTube, Flickr, Twitter, and applications. So we have a bunch of them up there already. Email, Gallery, Handcom Office, New York Times, because they have a special New York Times bundle on this. Samsung Watch On, you saw we already have on a screen the video player. So not everything that we saw made it into the Magazine UX right here. Now, if you don't like these, you can actually get rid of these too. The main Flipboard page on this side is going to stay, and you can add pages as you like for the desktop too. So you get a mix of each of these with the user interface. And no matter where you are, you always have the application launcher button, even if you're in one of those big Magazine UX experience pages, which is nice. And that's a pretty standard version of Samsung's launcher. Now, they've gotten things a little flatter, sort of like iOS has gotten the UI a little flat. They've gotten rid of some of the kind of leathery binding effects on some of the UI, and we'll show you that. But you've got apps here, you've got widgets, so you have your traditional Android widgets here as well, and you can put those on your regular desktop pages, and then you can look at just things that you've downloaded as well. Now if we take a look over here, notifications, I don't have any right now, but this seems inordinately large to me. On a 12.2-inch display, it'd be nice if this UI could be smallified a little bit, but we've got the usual Samsung thing where you can control all of your wireless radios. Notice how flat those icons have gotten. Got reading mode on and off, you've got your screen brightness, you've got your volume for alerts over here, turning air view on and off. And if you want to go to all settings, that's what it looks like. So similar tabbed interface that we've seen before on Samsung devices. Again, the UI is just a bit flatter. It's getting less cartoony. That's a good thing. No Hello Kitty here. Our 32 gig model right here has about 24 gigs available for use for internal storage, and Samsung does have the apps to SD, shall we say, hack or modification of Android installed, so you can put apps on an SD card. I think that's enough internal storage that you're probably not going to need to do that. And I put a bunch of big games on here, and I still have plenty of space. This is running Android KitKat 4.4, so we got the latest version of Android actually on a tablet. Pretty darn exciting. Samsung throws a bunch of their own software on here, as you might expect. And you can choose to arrange this alphabetically, as always with Samsung, or in the way that you choose. I've downloaded Adobe Reader. I'm going to show you how that works with the pen. Handcom Office, aha. The big deal about this, one of the big deals, because these Pro tablets are supposed to appeal to business users. They also have Samsung Knox installed for security. Those of you who like to hack ROMs might not be too thrilled with that. But anyway, Samsung would like to take away some of iOS and Windows market share in the business community. So you get Handcom Office, which is the closest thing I've ever seen to a real Office experience as an MS Office on a desktop on here. However, out of the box, this retail unit had only Handcom Viewer. So you had to launch Handcom Viewer, and then there were menus, and you could actually download the full version. That took a day. This product launched on February 13th. Today is February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day, by the way. So we now have the full version on here, and we'll take a look at that because it really is a pretty compelling feature. They pre-install Dropbox, you get 50 gigs of storage there, e-meetings on here. You get a year of Business Week Plus subscription on this. We got a remote PC viewer. That's pretty neat. We're going to take a look at that in a minute. And also we have WebEx. So let's look at the remote PC. We have a big gaming desktop PC on another floor of the house, pretty far away. It tells you how to do it. And then here's my Windows desktop, and right now the desktop is set to do full HD resolution, so that's what this is mimicking. You can actually pinch zoom if you want, and this is the IE web browser up here. You can switch to mouse mode, use a keyboard. I highly recommend. I've been using a Logitech Bluetooth keyboard with this. You can do Remote Explorer, Screen Lock, so on. So, because this is a business PC, the first thing you guys are going to ask is, how about playing games, right? So I actually launched Steam on my desktop here and started up a session of Skyrim, and anything that takes over the screen, full screen like a game, does not get mirrored here. So sorry, this is not going to be for gaming and playing your awesome 3D games on the tablet itself. There are other clients we've seen. ASUS actually go with a client that can handle that kind of thing, but this is a little bit more business oriented. Anyway, I can control everything on the PC right here. I can minimize buttons, minimize browser windows, whatever. Bring up my file window. It all works. Not as easy as, obviously, using something with a actual mouse. You could use a mouse with this too if you wanted to, though. Makes control a bit easier, but there it is, remote access. And when you're done, you just hit disconnect. Samsung also includes their Samsung apps, which you can use to download client updates for some of the preloaded software on here. And, of course, they would love you to shop for apps through their own client store. But don't worry, there's Google Play on here, the full suite of Google Play applications. And they also include a couple of other applications grouped in the Samsung group right here. So even more. Action Memo, their alarm. Evernote they have preloaded. Obviously, they don't actually make Evernote. The scrapbook is here, cool as ever. You can actually use the pen, circle things, and then throw them in the scrapbook. S-Voice for a voice command. Yeah, I like Google Voice better. Knox, you may or may not like that. SideSync if you want to have a relationship with your smartphone, made by Samsung, shall we say. You know how that works. Samsung for the PC, we've seen before. So, and Sketchbook for Gallery, that's Alias Sketchbook Pro for Samsung Galaxy. And that's pretty cool. We're going to take a look at that when we look at the pen. So how about performance? Again, we've seen the Exynos 5 used in a couple of other Samsung products, and Note 3, some versions of the 2014 edition of the Samsung Galaxy Note 10.1. And it doesn't quite perform as well as the Snapdragon 800 overall. Now, if you get the LTE version, you will get the Snapdragon 800 for those of you who are really, really looking for the absolute mega oomph. I can tell you in everyday use, you probably won't feel the difference. These are both going to play demanding 3D games really well, stream video, that kind of thing. The only thing that I've noticed is that this really has trouble playing 4K video. The built-in video players won't even play it, so I downloaded BS Player to play it, and you can see some frame drops and occasional audio skipping. It can play native resolution 2560, say by 1440 video just fine. It's just when you go up to full 4K. Other than that, I haven't found a practical reason to really care. But some of you will anyway, because you want the best of the best of the fastest. Quadrant, the score is 15,337. Now compare that, interestingly, to the Samsung Galaxy Tab Pro 8.4, which has the Snapdragon 800 in it, also running at the same insanely high resolution. That one scored 23,355, so you get the difference in the CPU when it comes to quadrant result. For 3D Mark Ice Storm Unlimited, 13,785. Now the Tab Pro 8.4 scored just only a little bit higher there, 15,530, so you're not really giving up much there. On Tutu, 34,890, that's very, very high score. Graphics Bench 3, the T-Rex score on screen, 14 frames per second, 23 frames per second off screen, because there it's only playing full HD, it's actually a lower resolution off screen. Geekbench 3, 936 single core, 2627 multi-core. And Sun Spider JavaScript test using the WebKit web browser has both the traditional Android WebKit web browser and Chrome pre-installed. 528 milliseconds, which is very, very fast. Though we did get 396 milliseconds on the Tab Pro 8.4. Overall, since Android tablets usually don't get the fastest CPUs, right now that's something that you're going to see more in your flagship Android smartphones. That's still very, very fast stuff. Haven't found a program that didn't launch quickly and run smoothly. UI lag, everybody likes to pick on Samsung and their TouchWiz UI lag. Every once in a while I do see some. Sometimes the widgets take a little bit to redraw, a little bit of time, but nothing that's offensive. I also use an iPad mini with Retina display, which is supposed to be the paragon of speed, and I'm not feeling like I'm mired in quagmire here with Samsung. Because everybody wants to use a 12-inch tablet as a camera, don't you? Right? Just in case you do, here's the camera. If you're familiar with Samsung products, nothing is going to be surprising here. Metering mode is pretty neat. Tap to take pictures, face detection, video setting for size. You can see we can go up to full 1920 by 1080 there. More setting, review, timer, volume key, so on. And then we also have modes. Again, if you're familiar with Samsung products, you'll notice, and I really love this because they actually give you a visual example of what each thing does. So you have the usual sports, auto, beauty face, best photo, panorama, eraser mode where you can get rid of photo bombers, HDR mode, drama shot, all sorts of stuff to choose from right there. And you can do the picture-in-a-picture with the front camera here. Now, nothing's really in front of it except for my hand, but there it is. You can see it, so you can do that cool stuff that you can do with other Samsung Galaxy products. Front camera, 2 megapixel, quite good, certainly good enough for pleasing Skype experience, anything else you're going to do in the way of video conferencing. So how about battery life? 9,500 milliamp battery sealed inside. That's a lot of battery, especially for something this thin that weighs 1.65 pounds again. Samsung claims 11 to 13 hours of usage, 11 for streaming video, 13 hours for internet usage. And right now we're getting at least 10. We're still running through our battery tests, so wait for our full written review to see our final analysis of that. But absolutely no problem getting through a business day on a charge with this thing and then some. And that's actual use time. That's not standby time. So I think it's going to be pretty hard unless you're playing Real Racing 3 all day long or using the built-in GPS with GLONASS, by the way. You don't need to get the LTE model to have that feature. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty hard to kill the battery on this guy. The bad news is it takes a long time to charge this. On the Exynos version, as you know, if those of you who had Exynos-based tablets before, it's a slow charging process, and that's not a real high-amp charger. Now, the LTE version, the Snapdragon 800, does have quick charging, so that one should charge quicker. So what I do is I plug this in at night when I go to bed if I need to charge it, and it's all ready by the next day. So, web browsing on this thing is the bomb. If you ever felt like 10 inches was nice, but just not quite still big enough, you're going to love this experience. And first, let's look at Samsung's keyboard here, because they're real proud of this. And here, this is one of the last vestiges of skeuomorphism, where they're trying to reproduce the actual physical world, since they got rid of the bindings and the doodads and the 3D look on a lot of other stuff. We do have little 3D shadows around every key here. The nice thing is, this is actually big enough that you can type on this pretty quickly using multiple fingers. And you've got your number row up here, you've got arrow pad down here. They have enough room to do all that stuff, and then if you want to use your voice instead, there's the little voice button. So, nice keyboard experience, certainly. Haptic and auditory feedback as well. And right now we're just using the Android WebKit web browser. You can use Chrome. You can download Firefox, both browser, whatever you want. That's one of the nice things about Android. Lots of browsers to choose from. Very easy to read. No squinting at the text. No real need to pinch zoom. Though you certainly can if you want, and it's going to be very quick. And this display is just lovely. Really nice color balance and separation. There's 3 different color profiles you can choose under settings, but very pleasing colors. It's a pretty nice color gamut on there. Very bright display. And it's super sharp. If you're doing something like reading magazines, be it Zinio or Google Play magazines, the things you can see on here that you normally wouldn't see on, say, just even a full HD tablet or one of the older 1280 by 800 tablets, is just really nice. So we'll test out the speakers, which are actually quite good on this. We'll look at the video review of the LG G-Pad 8.3. You could just use a YouTube application, obviously, to do this too. This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and today we're going to look at something kind of refreshing. Lately it's been a whole lot of Windows products. A lot of manufacturers are trying out Windows tablets this year. Of course, phones, but now we've got an Android tablet here. Finally, the LG G. Looks good, sounds good, looks better through the YouTube player. And we're going to try that out now. So now we're in the YouTube applications. You can see here, looking at the Dell Venue 11 Pro. This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. A lot nicer, a lot sharper. Look at the Dell Venue 11 Pro. This is a Windows 8 tablet available with Intel Atom. That's what we're looking at, or Intel Core i3 and i5C. So there is a benefit to living large. Really enjoyable experience for videos and for web browsing here. Now how about for gaming? Let's see how it performs with a current demanding 3D game. So we're going to test out Real Racing 3 here, and it may become a big tablet, but it's not that heavy, so even though it's accelerometer based, it's not too punishing to play. Looks really nice. And we've got our rear view mirror graphic effects. This is a big tablet, so you're going to find that you have to move it less than you would with a smaller tablet for accelerometer based games like this. And it's playing very smoothly. A lot of cars on the field, and let's see, that first turn is where sometimes frame rates will drop on some. And it's playing just fine. Very smooth. A little cheating on the curves. Pretty good lighting effects on this. It's playing just fine. Certainly it's one of the more powerful tablets on the market, so. There it is, Real Racing 3 on the Samsung Galaxy Note Pro 12.2. Like, make an instant memo, scrapbook something, do a screen capture, and write on the screen so you can capture any screen you want, annotate it, pen window as well. But we're going to look at Adobe Reader first, just in case you really are a business-minded person. So we're actually looking at the user manual for this product, and you saw the toolbar was up there. I actually used the highlighter here. So you want to highlight a section, you can highlight a section, no problem. You want to write, say you want to do a digital signature, you can sign, you can choose the thickness and the weight of this. Also, you can annotate to your heart's content. So for those of you who need to mark up PDFs, you're going to like this. Next, we'll take a look at S Note. Again, those of you who are familiar with Galaxy Note products will know what this is. We're going to start out with the pen. And I am resting my hand on the glass. It does have palm rejection. And say I want to turn that into text. Use the selection tool. And I can transform it Obviously, in this case, it's going to be text. And it worked. So let's try a formula next. Now that looks pretty ugly. We'll see what it thinks that is. And that's actually what I meant right there, the sigma. So good times there is working with formulas as well. If you want to just do text, here it is. You can do text as well using the keyboard or your Bluetooth keyboard. So there it is, the built-in note-taking application. Now there are lots of note-taking applications for those of you who prefer something else, and you probably are aware of them already if you're already a note fan and using them. But how about an art program? We'll look at the one that is bundled by Samsung, which is an excellent application. It's Autodesk Sketchbook Pro for Galaxy. And here's the sketch I've been working on. Now you can see right here the pen location is very accurate, which is nice. Again, when I was using other Wacom pens, a little bit offset to the left, unless I held it straight up. So pen tip sensor location is a little bit different on this guy. It's probably a little bit closer to the head, and that's why. So this is quite a capable application, kind of nice that they included it. You can adjust your brushes right here. You can switch to different brushes. You can change your color. You can set your opacity and so on. So say I want to go crazy with the airbrush and put some blue water in the background. And there it is. There's blue in the background just like that. Pressure sensitivity. And let's switch brushes again so you can see that. Now, Office is where Android tablets in general, and Samsung being an Android tablet maker, have their work cut out for them because these days the Intel Atom-based, more affordable Windows tablets, well, they're coming with Office Bundle, and it's real full Office. And most of the mobile equivalents that we've seen on iOS and Android certainly are lacking a lot of the features. So let's take a look. And we're going to use the actual editing application right there. So as you look at the interface right here, notice that we have menus just like you're used to on a computer. And this brings up all the ribbon controls, a lot like Office 2013 that's become a bit more touch sensitive. So we have picture, insert, clip art, shapes, tables, paragraphs, footnotes, endnotes. It's all here. This is actually a pretty darn good experience. Usually all those advanced features they're missing from tablet versions of Office for Android and again for iOS. So it's the first time that using this, I don't really feel like, well, I'm missing out on a whole lot of stuff. Print icons, your text controls, everything is pretty darn familiar. Formatting controls, indentations, multi-level lists, bullets, numbering, page break insertion, all of that kind of thing. And you also get Excel and Word compatible too. We'll take a look at those. H-Cell, Handcom Cell is the Excel one. So let's just create a new document right here. So again, the familiar way of doing things. So what about formulas? That's usually a sore point on mobile OS products. And financial formulas, text, lookup formulas, logical formulas. So how about financial? Look at all this stuff. It's really pretty amazing. And the PowerPoint application is also very capable. So I would say this is the best thing I've ever seen on a mobile OS when it comes to Office. It takes the sting out of not getting a Windows tablet just for the Office experience that you're going to get on it. It's really very, very good. And it wouldn't be a Galaxy without multitasking here with multi-window. So those are all the applications that are supported. You can use the back key, just hold it up to bring up all those. So quite a few words. The Office suite, the YouTube player, the Gmail, your web browsers, your e-meeting, some third-party apps like BS Player over here. So say we want to do the web browser. So there we've got the web browser. And maybe I would like to take some notes about what I'm looking at. So let's bring up S-Note next. So I bring that in here. And I say, hey, you know what? The problem is that I'm left-handed, so I need to have the writing window on the other side. Of course, you can resize these too, if you want to. But if you press and hold over here, you can do handy things like swap content, paste content back and forth. In this case, I just want to swap the windows. So I just choose the swap before it goes away. And I can swap sides. And I can even split this further and add another application in here to get 3 going at once. So with a screen this big, this actually starts to become somewhat more practical. It's got variable resize here, so it's pretty darn handy. And of course you've got things like the floating translucent video player. You can toss these guys in here as floating apps too. But there we go, a 3-way going now at the same time, so you get the idea. So again, for those of you who want to do some multitasking on this, and you're looking for a little bit of that Windows-like experience, this is how Samsung does it in Android. But wait, there's more. In our notification area here, I've set it up so that I have access to my AV remote control. I can switch between the different products that I've set up for AV remote control. So you can use this as a handy-dandy TV remote right there from the notification taskbar, or you can actually launch the application too if you want to. And it's got a TV content grid over here, and if you want to control your AV gear, you tap on the little button there, and that brings up more menus, and then you can switch using that button between even more gear. To round out the specifications on this, this is the Wi-Fi model, so there is no LTE, 3G, 4G kind of thing. Obviously, you can use a MiFi hotspot or your mobile phone's hotspot, or wait for the LTE model, 3G/4G/LTE that is, but it does have dual-band Wi-Fi, 802.11b, G, and AC as well, Bluetooth 4.0. Again, there's a front 2-megapixel camera on there. So who's this tablet for? Obviously, somebody who has $750 to spend. This thing is not cheap. But for those of you who are thinking about something like Surface Pro 2, the Dell Venue 11 Pro, because you want to do some PC things with it, but you might discover that you need more screen size and that you're not doing as many of those PC things as you thought. Because it's funny, when you have a 10-inch screen, 10.6-inch, say, on Surface Pro 2, you might say, you know, multitasking isn't the easiest thing on that small display, and I find I'm not really taking advantage of the full Core i CPU. But I would love to have a higher resolution, even better screen, lots of space to work with, really amazing video playback experience. I really need Office. Well, this one has Office. Lower maintenance here. This is not Windows. Folks make a big deal about Android viruses that really are very few, and if you don't go to places that have Juarez applications to download, you should be really safe on this thing. It's light. It's lighter than anything else in this size class in the world of Windows. It comes with the pen technology built in, so there's a lot to say for this kind of thing. And obviously, if you're thinking about something like the iPad as well, it's going to be the pen, it's going to be the bigger screen size, it's going to be the customizability of Android that probably might sway you toward this, not to mention the excellent Office suite. Someday, MS Office is supposed to come to iOS, but we don't know when. So that's the Samsung Galaxy Note Pro 12.2. It's available now. Yes, it's expensive, but if you're looking for a tablet with this screen size, this incredible high resolution, and a lot of productivity and entertainment capabilities, well, it might be the tablet for you. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to visit our website for the full review, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.